Shalom, Pastor, coming back at you with this truth. I'm gonna make this quick. Let's see where the spirit takes me. Anyway, there's a documentary getting ready to come out. This is, as you can see on the screen, Unspoken documentary, put together by Jude 3 Project. Just reading some of the comments here. Okay, we got a Israelite, RAWCHAA, Amathya, YAHAWAH, princess. Okay, it's a woman. Here's another one, Kwam YAHAWAH. Is that the Christian church using intellectual property for the Israelites and our belated brothers' likeness? I wonder how they think that's going to go over. Seems like a lot of women that know that the Israelites is on this comment section right here. Okay, it says the church system is not ecclesia, which means if you look up the word church in the blue letter, or you go to any Bible and you look up the root of the word, is a Greek word ecclesia, which means to call from out. It's like out call. We go out on the streets and push the word out there and it calls the people in. So that's what it means, the word church. The Bible is not God, perfect, holy word. I'm not even going to read the rest of this. Anyway, the question is Christianity the white man's religion? Yes, this plantation Christianity is. I'm gonna let you listen to a little bit and I'm comment. Like I said, I'm not gonna make this long.
I'm not a Christian anymore. If you believe that a spirit system is something wrong, I'm a Christian anymore. If you believe that I've come to college, I'm not gonna lie, like tell people all the time, yeah, I'm not a Christian. If you believe that a spirit system is on the wrong side of the moral issue, then obviously that's not gonna go well. So what we're witnessing is a church that is not only in the margins nationally, unfortunately, in some respects, it's being pushed to the margins within its own community. I'm Lisa Fields. I'm Christopher Lamar, and I'm Don Carey. We're the creators of the Unspoken documentary, which is a film that traces the Christian heritage of Africa to dispel the notion of Christianity as white religion.
To dispel the notion that Christianity is a white man's religion. The Christianity that you was introduced to in slavery, all of you, I would say, are former slaves, or what I mean by that is your parents before you, your foreparents, your ancestors, they were slaves. That's why you're in this country. And what this individual said, let me let you hear it again. Listen up.
Yes, this is a vital
notion of Christianity is the Christian heritage of Africa to dispel the notion of Henry. It's a film that traces the Christian heritage of Africa to dispel the notion of Christianity being a white man's religion.
Christianity is a white man's religion. When I say Christianity, I'm talking about westernized Europeanized Christianity, which I call plantation Christianity. The fact that you blacks, I'll use the word blacks, Israelites, that these three people here I would say, are Israelites. The scriptures speak about the Israelites being blinded for a time. That's in Romans 11, chapter 25th and 26th verse. Blindness in part has happened to Israel until the time of the Gentiles come in. The time of the Gentiles coming in is talking about Israelites that think that they're Gentiles, but they're actually Israelites. So they failed to become in until the fullness of the Gentiles become in. And the Most High is not going to wait for you to become in, because he's only gathering the elect and he's destroying the rest of you. He's going to force you, he's going to cause you to take the charagma, and then you're going to die. And then you come back and you know you're an Israelite. He's not going to do what he did when he took Israel in the wilderness, and only 2 people from the Egyptian side, let's say, to the promised land that lived in during that 40-year journey was only 2 people. The rest of them died. The other people that came to the other side were people that were born, whether it be first, second, third generation, came to the new world, let's say, to Palestine, Jerusalem, the land of Israel. So the only 2 that made it from one side before they got into the wilderness to the promised land was Caleb and Joshua. And the scriptures say that they were 2 spies. Joshua represented the tribe of Ephraim, and Caleb represented the tribe of Judah, meaning Caleb was a Judite, an Israelite of the tribe of Judah, not an Edomite. You know, vocab, when we first started going back and forth with vocab in 2016, he had made that statement. I did a video showing him that no, Caleb is actually a Judite. Anyway, let me let you hear this guy again. I want to get it clear. He said a few words, but I just want you to hear it again.
That traces the Christian heritage of Africa to dispel the notion of Christianity being a white man's religion.
Now, you can say true Christianity from the apostles went as far as Africa, because you had Israelites coming from all over the world during the time of the Pentecost in Acts, the 2nd chapter. So you did have a form of Israelites knowing that they were Israelites before the time period of 70 AD, when you had Israelites fled up into Europe, into the mountains, and into the interiors of Africa. You had Israelites that were already living in Africa that knew that they were the Israelites. There's never been a time in history where we didn't know that we were Israelites. And that's a fact. You have a big community in Nigeria of people that, so-called Black people, that claim that they're Israelites. Okay, but the Christianity that you 3 individuals love and practice is the so-called white man's Christianity. So it is a white man's religion. And I'm going to prove that briefly. I'm going to go to Google. And I'll put in Christianity. Christian. I'm not the greatest speller in the world. Christianity is right here. Okay, so that's your images, right? Christianity. Boom. So the prototypical or the typical Christ, which you can see as a white man, look like a hippie. Here's a different picture. Another so-called white man looking like a hippie on a cross. There we go again. I don't know where this picture, I guess you could say this is an icon. Yeah, the icon mosaics and frescoes. Okay, this is the real Lord, white ties to the Tamilao. This is what you call Russian icons, but the original Russian icons were people of dark brown skin. And what they did was they destroyed the images altogether and they put up images of themselves. That's what the Renaissance is all about. So now let me bring this up. Okay, Christianity is an Abrahamic monotheistic, meaning one God, religion based on the life and teachings of Jesus of Nazareth. Okay, so now let's take the name Jesus of Nazareth. Instead of Jesus, let's deal with Jesus of Nazareth. Because maybe you get black images. But let's see what happens. Let me go to images. Okay, that's your Jesus of Nazareth. So you're going to tell me that this is this form of Christianity is not the white man's religion? Every picture that you see here, there's a so-called white man. Every last one of them. Christianity is the white man's religion. True Christianity, the true Christians would be the apostles. Apostle Paul, Acts 13. They were called Niger or nigger. There's your classic Christ. When we were kids, we actually thought that this was Jesus. This is, I don't know if this is Caesar Borgia portrait of him, because Michelangelo painted an image of what they thought Christ was, and Leonardo da Vinci. And I think when, I believe it was Michelangelo, somebody can correct me, but they all look the same. And we all know the scriptures. The scriptures tell you that the Lord will have woolly hair and dark skin. He had woolly hair. Let me try this. What color was Jesus? I'll leave Nazareth. All white people. So they're telling you Jesus of Nazareth, or Jesus was a white man. Oh boy, look at this. That one black Jesus. Jesus of Nazareth. And look at this guy. It's an actual Edomite, Caesar Borgias looking person, but he has black features. But instead of having long, stringy hair, he has S curls, Jerry curls on his hair and on his beard. And if you open up a church and white people come into your Edomites come into your church and they see their images, they're not gonna come back to your church no more. They'll be offended. See, if you push a lie hard enough and long enough, people begin to believe that lie. Oh, look at that. That's Judas Iscariot. Now you notice they made him look like a Puerto Rican. Look like a Puerto Rican. Look at that. Look at this one. Give him that Ephraimitish look to him. He didn't have straight hair. He had curly hair. Boy, oh boy. Okay, right. You got this famous, the Last Supper. This is a different, okay, the life of Jesus of Nazareth in the gospel. The number one portrait or the number one painting of the Last Supper is with the Borgia family. These people don't look like the Borgia family, but they're all white people. They're all white people. When Esau, the devil, that old serpent, the devil came out of the bottomless pit, what did he do? He deceived the world. That's his job, is to deceive the world. Let me try this. Icons of Jesus of Nazareth. Let me just go with Jesus. Now the original icons, let's say prior to the 1300s, 1200s, 1000s, were all so-called black people. So this so-called white man, what he did was, there's a thing called Renaissance, meaning rebirth. A lot of the images they tore down, or they took the paint, the dark paint off. They used a solution to take the paint off the face and make it look white, change the hair up. That's a term called iconoclasm, the destruction of an icon. Okay, you can see, okay, this is most famous types of the Russian icons of Jesus. And you can clearly see he doesn't look like a white man, although his hair's kind of straight. You can see the color of his skin. And the saint over here, which is an angel, you can see the angel has a fro and he's a dark-skinned man, no beard, however. Okay, this is another image, and you can kind of see he almost looked like he has dreadlocks, and he's kind of like a light caramel, however you want to say it. Because when Esau went and took over Europe from out of Spain, they had to destroy these images, man, and they had to put images of themselves up. Okay, let me see. Let me put in Renaissance. Renaissance. Okay, Renaissance art. This is Renaissance art, which came, if you check the dates, this was in the 14, 15, 16, 17, 1800s. That's when, that's a fulfillment of Revelation, the 20th chapter. And here's that famous portrait or painting. And this is a woman right here. That's Caesar Borgia. You got Caesar Borgia over here. You got his brother, I forgot his brother's name. And the bald-headed man, the older man, that's Rodrigo Borgia. So they have Rodrigo Borgia a couple of times here. He got his bald head, and he got hair on his head over here. Then his brother's over here. Then you got Caesar Borgia again over here, and you got Caesar Borgia over there. So it's only 4 people that they use to make 12 people. And this Renaissance came from Europe, started in Europe, out of Spain. The power at that time came out of Spain. Cristobal Colon was a Spanish Jew, a so-called Jew from Spain. He wasn't Italian. Okay, so let me go to all Renaissance art. Let me just put down Renaissance. Let me take out the art and put down Renaissance. Renaissance. You see the so-called hand of God and the hand of Adam, which they're both so-called white people. It says Renaissance. The Renaissance is a period in European history making the transition from the Middle Ages to modernity and covering the 15th and 16th centuries, characterized by an effort to revive and surpass ideas and achievements of classical antiquity. Let me pull this word out, Middle Ages. Let's pull out the word Middle Ages, which is also known as the Dark Ages. So any of you Jakes that went to a college and joined up with the Christian club, or you became a student under a theological seminary, as called cemeteries. This is what you learned. You learned the so-called white man's form of Christianity. Middle Ages. What do they say about the Middle Ages? Middle Ages, in the history of Europe, the Middle Ages or medieval period, I'm gonna look that up too. Medieval, also known as the Dark Ages, lasted approximately from the 5th to the late 15th century. So during that time period, that's when Jake was in power. Similar to the post-classical period of global history, it began with the fall of the Western Roman Empire. The Roman Empire was split into 2 empires: the Eastern Empire and the Western Empire. The Western Empire was ruled by Esau, and the Eastern Empire was ruled by Jake, and they took over. And the Western Roman Empire fell and transitioned into the Renaissance and the age of discovery. The age, let's deal with the age of discovery. Let me say the age of discovery, not age of discovery, the age of discovery. The age of discovery is Revelation 20, the 20th chapter, when they came out of the bottomless pit and deceived the world. Age of discovery. The age of discovery is an informal and loosely defined term of the early modern period, largely overlapping with the age of sail, approximately from the 15th century to, that was the 1400s. 1,000-year reign was from if you want to put an exact date on it, 325 Anno Domini, year of our Lord, when Constantine the Great was the chief church father and the emperor. So when did they go down? From 300 to about 13, going into the mid 1300s into the 1400s, that's when we went down. 15th century to the 18th century in European history, in which seafaring Europeans explored regions across the globe, most of which were already they're telling the truth. Most of which were already inhabited, just like America. So how can you discover something when you had people already here? So Esau is beginning to tell the truth now. And like I said, all they were doing was fulfilling prophecy. The era known as the age of exploration, sometimes called the age of discovery, officially began in the early 15th century, meaning the 1400s, the mid to the late 1400s, and lasted through the 1700s. The period is characterized as a time when Europeans began exploring, Europeans meaning Edomites, began exploring the world by sea in search of new trading routes, wealth, and knowledge. Well, they were fulfilling prophecy. I keep referencing Revelation chapter 20. You have but I'm not even going to go into that. Let me deal with the dark ages. The dark ages. I think the term is Pluto's return. I'll see if I'll go into that. I might do it on another video. I put in the dark ages, right? Let's see what it says about the dark ages. The dark ages is a term for the early Middle Ages. I said that earlier. Or Middle Ages in Western European, after the fall of the Western Europe Roman Empire, characterized, it is marked by economic, intellectual, and cultural decline. Because who went down? What nation of people declined? Europeans. So who was up in power during that time period, during the time of the dark ages? It was Jake. And dark doesn't necessarily mean it with dark skin. It said, let me see if there's more. There's some information where it says, oh, that's a time where we don't want to talk about. Let me see what this says. That's Satan. Okay, Dark Ages. And historiography, the phrase Dark Ages or Dark Ages or Dark Age is most commonly known in relation to European early Middle Ages from 476 CE, the Common Era, to about 1000 CE. It was longer than that. It really started. This is when Jake was ruling. This is when Esau was on the bottom during this time. So this is a little bit more than 500 years, but they actually ruled for 1,000 years. But we started to go down maybe about the 12th century going into the 13th century going into the 14th century. This concept of a dark age, was first created by Italian humanist and was originally intended as a sweeping criticism of the character of vulgar Latin, because we spoke Latin, we spoke Greek, we spoke Hebrew literature. Later, historians expanded the term to include not only the lack of Latin literature, but we did speak Latin. When they put the Lord on the cross, it was atop his head was written King of the Jews in Latin and Hebrew and in Greek. Why? Because the Israelites, some of them spoke Latin, some of them spoke Greek, and some of them spoke Hebrew. But a lack of contemporary written history and material cultural achievements in general, because we were making all of your cultural achievements. Popular culture has further expanded on the term as a vehicle to depict the Middle Ages as a time of backwardness. Why did they call it a time of backwardness? Because they wasn't going nowhere, and we were the ones on top. So they didn't want to acknowledge that time of history. You got to understand the Roman Empire. You only had 12 emperors that were Edomites. From Julius, really you could say 13, 12, 13. Got to do a count again. From Julius, well, it was 12. From Julius Caesar all the way up to Domitian Caesar, which was a younger brother of Titus, and the younger son of Vespasian. And then Jake, the next person to rule, getting the power seat was Jake. What was his name? Nerva. You had a time where you had the 5 good emperors, which were all Jakes, extending its derogatory use and expanding its scope. The rise of archaeology, the study of old, and other specialties in the 20th century has shed much light on the period and offered a more nuanced understanding of its positive developments. Now, if they bring out the whole truth about the Middle Ages, the time period 476 to about 1000 CE, they would have to say, oh, those are Jakes that were ruling. And it wasn't no damn 500 years, it was 1,000 years. From 300 into the late 13, going into the 1400s. In the mid 1400s, that's when we started going down. That's when the Edomites started coming up into power. It says, shed much light on the period and offered a more nuanced understanding of its positive development. Other terms of periodization have come to the fore. Late antiquity, the early Middle Ages, this is when we were ruling, also known as the Dark Ages, and the Great Migrations, depending on which aspect of culture are being emphasized. They're telling you in a roundabout way that they wasn't in power. That's why we ain't gonna speak too much about it. That was a dark time. Yeah, because you was not in power. Most modern historians dismiss the notion that the era was a dark age by pointing out that this idea was based on ignorance of the period combined with popular stereotypes. Let me read that again. That this idea was based on ignorance of the period, not knowing of the period, because you were getting your asses kicked. You was on the bottom. Combined with popular stereotypes. Many previous authors would simply assume that the era was a dismal time of violence and stagnation. Why? Because Jake was ruling. They said, yeah, when them niggas was ruling, they were just killing each other and they were shiftless. That's what they're saying. They're not coming out with it. They're saying they're talking about it in a roundabout way. Jake had power. That's when the Moors were ruling. You had the Moors, you had the Christians, and you had the crypto Jews. And a lot of the Moors were Israelites too. They knew they were all Israelites, but a lot of them knew that they were Israel. They were just being called Moors. Some of them embraced the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Others embraced Islam, because Islam, that was a major religion too. They showed you that in the movie, the Robin Hood movie. What's the name of it? Somebody could put it in the comment section. With this guy, Morgan Freeman was in it, and he played the Moor. And they showed in the opening scene. And that movie, now I remember seeing that movie in the theater. It was me, myself, and High Priest Ariah, and another brother. We went down there and saw it. And we were surprised that they actually got a so-called black actor to play a Moor, and they showed you that the Moors would look different than the actual Arabs, because they wanted to chop their hands off. But what's this guy? Played in Dances with Wolves. I can't even think of his name. He has been making too many movies. What's his name? Costner. It's coming back. And he played Robin Hood, but they should have had Jake. They should have had Denzel play Robin Hood, man. You see how these devils, they got to keep the lie going. Anyway, this Christianity, let me come back to this video here. Bear with me for a minute. I'll let you hear a little bit more. Well, there's not much really to speak on. Let me see. Okay, let me go to this and then I'm gonna close it. Well, that's A lot of them are leaving to become Israelites. Let me read that again. I don't know if you heard that. Church membership among Black Americans, Israelites, has decreased by 19% over the past 2 decades. Departures by Gen Z and millennials. But a lot of them are leaving because they're finding out that they're Israelites.
I think we haven't done a great job of answering this question.
Is Christianity the white man's religion?
I can understand that concern.
Why would you ever, I can say you'll do something, to a faith that has been used to perpetuate your oppression. So sometimes
She said something heavy. Let me come back to her. She said something heavy. But Jake is waking up, man.
used to perpetuate faith that has been used,
Understand that concern.
why would you ever, I can say you'll do something, to a faith
Meaning Christianity. She ain't with Christianity.
that has been used to perpetuate your oppression. So
To perpetuate your oppression. They use this religion, Christianity, to keep you down. This is why they demonize guys like Vocab Malone, demonize really the one Westers. He really has no problem with the IOG, the Israel of God, because they teach, I believe they teach that, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but I believe they teach that so-called white people can make it. GOCC, not too much is said negative about GOCC because they say Edomites can make it. But the rest of the one Westers and some of the major groups, GMS, IUIC, ISUPK, and many others, Vocab goes after. He goes after me. He'll dedicate a whole 2-3 hours on getting on me. He must know something. Anyway, let me let you listen to a little bit more. I'm making my own documentary right here. Hood style.
since I've come to college, I'm not gonna lie, I like tell people all the time, yeah, I'm not a Christian anymore.
You heard what she said. I'm not a Christian anymore. Let me let you listen to a little bit more.
He believes that a spiritual system is on the wrong side of the moral issue. And obviously, that's not.
Okay, this guy is Adam Coleman. He came when Vocab came out and confronted us. He was there, and he made a statement, and he was sincere when he made the statement. He looked at us and he said, "Good bill, good bill," and we shook his hand and all that. But if this man, there's certain of these Christians, man, Adam Coleman and Alan, what's his name? Alan Parr. If we were to pull him to the side and go into the scriptures with him, if they don't say, "You're right, I'm an Israelite," they're gonna run away and just, stay in denial. Because a lot of these Jakes, they can see that they're Israel. It makes all the sense of the world that we are the Israelites, but they're in denial. They're thinking, well, what is my grandmama gonna think? What is my mama gonna think? We was raised in Christianity. And yeah, you were raised in the white man's Christianity. You still have a slave mentality. Anyway, with that, let me say, like I said, I was going to say a few words. It went a little long. You know me. Put your comments and your precepts. I didn't pull out a lot of precepts, but a lot of precepts came to mind. Like on the word Israel, did the Lord come only for Israel? Yeah, it's all throughout the scriptures. It's all throughout the Old Testament. The New Testament, what these people are saying is, oh, now it's open to the Gentiles. Those Gentiles Anytime you come across the word Gentile or Gentiles in the New Testament and has something to do with salvation, those are Israelites that didn't know that they were Israelites. Like a perfect example, Cornelius. Cornelius is an Israelite or was an Israelite, still is an Israelite. Whether he's here among us or whether he's in the spiritual realm, he's an Israelite. The Lord, the Great Commission, they always go to the Great Commission in Matthew, 28, verse 19, if I'm not mistaken. But they don't go into when the gathering of the disciples in Matthews 10, 5, and 6, he said, don't go to the Gentiles, and then don't deal with the Samaritans, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And it goes on to say, give them the kingdom, give them the secrets of the kingdom. So why would he say later, why would he come to Paul and say, oh, you're gonna be the apostles of the Gentiles, therefore I magnify your office, when he said, don't go teach the Gentiles? Because the Gentiles that he was talking about in Matthew 10, 5, and 6 were the other nations. The Gentiles in the book of Romans that Paul dealt with, those were Israelites that didn't know that they were Israelites. So, hey, the scripture, if you go to the word, I'm gonna leave you with one precept, if I may. Doctrine. The very first scripture that comes up, Deuteronomy 32:2, my doctrine, the Most High's doctrine, shall drop as the rain, my speech shall distill as the dew, as the small rain upon the tender herb, and as the showers upon the grass. So that means that you're gonna be pickled in Israel. You know, when you pickle something, you put the cucumber into what do you call it? What do you call that? A brine, and it sucks in the salty brine and whatever herbs, onions, garlic, whatever you use, and it is no longer a cucumber. It's a pickle, and it has taste to it. Because every bite that you taste, you're gonna taste that brine. You're gonna the cucumber has been pickled. All right. So it says here, like the dew. When you get up in the morning, mainly in the country, it hadn't rained, but it looked like it rained on the grass. It didn't. It was dew. It came up from the earth. So this doctrine, which is the truth about being an Israelite, this is a world religion now, man. The whole world, the fulfillment of Matthew 24, when this gospel is preached or published throughout the whole world, and that word there, I thought it was oikomeni, it's actually eon, and eon means a system. Who controls this current system? The so-called Esau, the so-called white boy. So this is a major religion now. Anytime you talk about religion, you got to bring in, as vocab would use the term, Hebrew Israelism. Anyway, with that, I said enough. Put your comments in there. With that, I'm gonna say shalom.